Hello fellow gamers, I'm Nicholas Skinner with Skinner Games, and you're here for another episode of Game Reviews in 5 minutes or less. In today's episode, we'll be addressing a recent release from Green Ronin Publishing, the Tal'Dorei Campaign Setting. Now for those of you who may not have heard of Tal'Dorei, although if you've been part of this hobby for like the last 3-4 years, I'd be surprised if you've never heard of it. It was originally part of a podcast done by one Mathew Mercer and a group of nerdy voice actors, and they play through his custom campaign setting. What's neat about this campaign guide is it's Mathew Mercer's very first publication, and I think he did a very excellent job with describing the world that he created for his players and those who have enjoyed watching his show. For those who are fans of the show, whether you're role-playing or not, this is a definite must-have companion guide to the series itself. One thing I usually talk about on a lot of these videos is the art. I'm a huge fan of visual representation of the world around you. If any of you follow our social media feeds for our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, you can see that I create a ton of props for my own players at the table because I like them to have visual and visceral experiences while we're playing. And this book has no shortage of just amazing visuals for anyone who is wanting to explore Tal'Dorei. Now I've expanded this picture a little bit so you guys can see some more of the detail because I have to hold my iPad in a really weird way so you don't see the reflection of the screen from my phone, which is my recording device, and everything that's behind it. Now as I started out, I said that this was the perfect companion guide for anybody who is a fan of Critical Role and Tal'Dorei. And it goes into some really keen and specific details onto a lot of the things that you found on the show. So right away, Mathew Mercer starts out talking about the history of Tal'Dorei and kind of the tragic history behind it, with the Age of Arcanum, the start of the Chroma Conclave. However, this book had to have a specific point in which to end. Vox Machina's adventures continue, and this book ends with Vox Machina having taken on and beaten the Chroma Conclave. And then past the history of Tal'Dorei, we get a pantheon of gods. Now, because of copyright issues, some of these gods couldn't be given the names that they use in the show, so they've been given less specific names to avoid any kind of infringement. They are given their alignments and their domains in each description, and you find out a little bit more about them. The next thing in the book within the table of contents is the races that inhabit Tal'Dorei, and it talks about all of them. Your Goliaths, your Dragonborn, your Halflings, your Gnomes, your Drow, all of that stuff. The Elves, the Half-Elves, all of it. There isn't really a lot of crunch in the beginning. You get a few stat adjustments for the Dragonborns and things, but generally there isn't a lot of just crunch. It's a lot of description on what Tal'Dorei is, how it became to be, and what's happening next. The next section after that continues the theme, and it talks about a lot of the organizations and some of the factions and things that have a lot of power within Tal'Dorei. So it talks more about the Ashari, the Chamber at Whitestone, the Clasp, all of these societies and things that are the major players of the continent. And then after that, we get the Gazetteer. There are just too many places to list, even if I tried, so I'm not even going to. However, the guide does come with a map, which I believe is also in the book as a pull-out map. So for those who purchase it, you can see the map of Tal'Dorei and be able to read and follow along with the Gazetteer as to each individual place. Also throughout the campaign guide, you'll find scattered through some seeds of adventure for low-level players up to high-level players. So it gives you some nice things to do to adventure around in Mathew Mercer's world. Now the next sections, chapters 3 and 4, is where you get more of the crunchy stuff. You get some more player class options, a couple of more domains, like the Blood domain. You also get some more background, like a member of the Clasp, or a member of the Ashari, or some of my favorites, the Recovered Cultist and the Fate Touched. There are also some magic items, like the Bofenthris and the Titanstone Knuckles, some of my personal favorite items from the show. There's a section that I find more useful than the others, personally, because I'm more of a guy about crunch. And that's optional campaign rules and guidelines, and it gives you some other things to do, like alternative resurrection rules. And the last chapter gives relevant information for playing certain monsters within the realm of Tal'Dorei, like your goblin kind, your aberrations, how an aboleth would behave, for example. And it also gives a few new monsters, like a Cinder Elemental and some Goliaths for you to throw into your campaign. So overall, I think it's a really interesting book. It gives a lot of really good information on Tal'Dorei. It's a really fantastic campaign setting. There are some new items, there are some new things to play with, but overall, it's a lot like the Sword Coast manual for 5th edition, where it's really just giving you a ton of information about where you're at. So if you're a fan of the show, go on and pick up the guide. You will not be disappointed with the information that you find. Mathew Mercer did an excellent job. The art is stunning. It is a fantastic production by Green Ronin. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Every week we try to drop a 5-minute review on something new, something old, or something yet to come. Thanks for watching, and happy gaming!